when our mind becomes too heavily clouded with desire, we become miserable from within. We lose clarity on how to act in the world, and we lose our way in personal life and on our spiritual path. So today's video is dedicated to discussing the lessons of the Gita on how to handle desires. We're going to be talking about some practical instructions that Krishna gave to Arjuna on how to move in the world without being a slave to your desires. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel, we study and practice the teachings of the Gita with great devotion. In today's video, I wish to share with you 4 very, very practical instructions and practices that Krishna taught to Arjuna. I'll do my best to also share my own personal examples of how I practice these teachings so that after you're done watching today's video, you can now go and implement them right into your life. So let's get right into it. The first point that I would like to discuss with you is Krishna's instruction to Arjuna to not just work and act for the sake of his own personal benefit. Krishna tells Arjuna, don't just work for your own well-being, but for the well-being of others as well. Don't just seek to serve yourself. Seek to serve God's creation, which is everything and everyone you see. Krishna says, those who don't wish to serve are without a home in this world. So he guides Arjuna that if you only work to fulfill your own desire at any cost with great attachment, you will be miserable. You will suffer. You will contract yourself into such a small understanding, which will be so full of darkness. Instead of this, Krishna guides Arjuna to work in the world for the benefit of others, not only for the benefit of others and not for himself, no, but for the benefit of others as well as himself. And the greatest service, he says, is when you look at all your work, all your action as a service to God, as a service to the Creator. This transmutes our desire into spiritual practice. Not only does it help us to achieve great things in the world, but it also helps us to make our action a form of self-purification. Krishna tells Arjuna, selfish desire is the enemy of wisdom. The greater your selfish desire, the more you become narrowed in the little perspective called ego, which is full of suffering. The more you start to bring the welfare of others in your mind and the world, and as you seek to serve God's creation selflessly, you expand yourself. So you experience more peace, clarity, wisdom, alignment, and you also experience greater worldly advancement. Now, number 2, Krishna tells Arjuna a little secret. Krishna says that I am the fulfiller of all desires. No matter what it is that people want, Krishna says, I unify their faith in what they want, and I ultimately satisfy or fulfill every desire. Krishna says, those whose understanding is little achieve only transient satisfaction, but those who desire the highest, the greatest, which is God himself, self-realization, those who live for God, are united with me, he says. So one lesson in this is that whatever it is that you want in the world, whether it is worldly or spiritual, have total faith in that and rely totally on Krishna for that. Krishna is the fulfiller of all desires, so completely have faith. Krishna will fulfill your desire. But Krishna says that any worldly desire is influenced by the rajas guna. And every worldly desire that is born out of rajas, the fruit of the fulfillment of that desire is greed and suffering. The fulfillment of worldly desires only leads to more desires, greed for more or something else. Therefore, every desire that is arising from the restlessness of rajas, which is drenched in selfishness, the fruit of it will be misery. Therefore, Krishna guides us. Want the highest, desire the greatest, God Himself. Number 3, Krishna guides Arjuna to remain even-minded in all the dualities of life. You always desire well-being for yourself. You always desire success. You always desire happiness, prosperity, wealth, good health, positive emotions. But as you've seen, life is always fluctuating between success, failure, pleasure, pain, positive, negative. Krishna tells Arjuna that the wise do not seek their happiness in the realm of changes, in the realm of the senses, in the realm of the gunas. So he guides Arjuna. Yes, your desire is always, with the good things and the positive things and the pleasant things. But even when you're experiencing pain, remain even-minded. Do not react. Do not resist. Do not fight away. Do not fight against, and do not run away from what you're experiencing. This instruction is very special because it allows us to experience a greater contentment than ever before. One that is unconditional, because previously, when we are so caught up in desire, our happiness is so conditional. Only when we are experiencing the pleasant, we are happy. But the moment experience turns into something we do not prefer, something unpleasant, we are miserable. Krishna's advice encourages us to transcend this conditional happiness that is very, very limited, very, very fleeting. Krishna asks us to not wait for such a state where we will just always be content and happy, but instead to practice it. Practice being like the sages. Krishna is always telling Arjuna about these wise sages and how they act. He is giving us an example of how to live. So we are to be even-minded in all dualities of life, in every phase, in every experience. Watching keenly, observing, not attaching, not resisting, but simply observing, experiencing, allowing, embracing. This makes way for us to experience unconditional contentment and happiness. That is the nature of our self. Number 4, Krishna tells Arjuna, surrender to me. Whatever your desire is, whatever you resist, whatever it is you want in life, even your spiritual pursuit for self-realization, Krishna tells Arjuna, I am your only safety. I am your only security. I am your only stability. I am your only refuge. I am your inner self. So surrender to me completely. And there is no room for us to be unhappy then. And then we can look at all of life with an even mind. We can see all of life as God Himself. What is a greater way to quench our thirst, which is desire? Ultimately, we have to start seeing that all desire is for God alone. We think we want money and a possession or a title or a status change. But what we're really seeking is the unconditional peace that is the nature of God Himself. When we surrender completely to Krishna, to God, knowing Him to be our only wealth, our only safety, our only security, we start to really experience that. Now, I want to share with you a very simple recipe for how you can implement all four of these teachings into your life on a day-to-day basis. These are also based on my personal experience of how I have tried to digest the teachings of the Gita and applied them to my work and my personal life. I will say, though, that implementing these teachings in your life alone is difficult. So if you need help and you think that you would benefit from being part of a group, join our Bhagavad Gita study group. I'll link it down below. All right. So, how do we implement these teachings very practically in our life? Does it mean I have to give up my desire? Does it mean I have to stop working towards my goals? This is the way I like to look at it very simply. You can have your goals, you can work towards them. You can have your plan for what you want life to be. It's okay to desire personal well being and betterment. Have your plan, but day by day, keep surrendering to God's plan. Keep allowing and accepting God's plan. What does that mean? Your plan is what you think you want. God's plan is what happens moment by moment. So find the balance between working towards your plan with integrity, with honesty, with truthfulness, while moment by moment accepting what is, which is ultimately God's plan. Whatever is the contents of your current experience, allow it. Never fight against it. Always flow with it. So, for example, let's say you have some work goals of maybe certain income you want to achieve or certain impact you want to have on the people you serve. You want to help a certain amount of people, or you want to grow in a certain role. Work towards it. It's okay. Work towards it. But here are a few ways that you can make that pursuit into your spiritual practice. Number one, don't rest your happiness on the other side of that goal. Don't make your happiness a slave to that goal's fulfillment. Work towards the goal, but do not be attached to when and how and if it will be fulfilled. Make it a habit to be content now. Number two, embrace the journey. The journey that unfolds while you're working towards what you are inspired to work towards is ultimately your spiritual path. On the journey, you will experience many ups and downs, successes and failures. During those experiences, practice Krishna's advice of evenness of mind, embracing whatever God is placing in your way, surrendering totally to Him, even when the future is totally unknown. Surrender in the safety of Krishna's presence. Know that He is your protector, your guide, your only safety. Always remember that. And number three, accept what is happening moment by moment. Take it to be your path. You want your path to be full of what you want. Now replace being so attached to what you want with what God gives you. So again, you don't have to give up what you want, but even more than what you want, you are intent on embracing what God gives you. Start to find your happiness, not in what you think you desire, but rather in what God gives you. I have found this to be one of the greatest secrets of life, that our greatest personal happiness and spiritual growth lies not in getting what we want, but rather in accepting and living and experiencing without resistance what God gives us moment by moment. In this, we find our unconditional contentment, peace, satisfaction, fulfillment. In this, we grow in awareness of Krishna's presence within us. I hope this video helps you to navigate this theme of desire in your life. Practice earnestly, my friend. And again, if you need help, join our Bhagavad Gita study group. I'll link it down below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.